Welcome to Lair the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, let's discuss Angel's 1975 self-titled debut album. Angel is a band from Washington, D.C. that was discovered by Gene Simmons in the early 70s. Gene Simmons being the bass player of Kiss. He got Angel signed to the record label that Kiss was on at the time, Casablanca Records. And Angel was set up to be sort of this flip side, opposite version of Kiss. Kiss had the makeup and the dark black clothing and leather and stuff like that. And Angel had their stage presence was these all in white, long, big sleeved, flowing outfits, big platform shoes. And Angel had a very interesting sound. They were sort of a combination, especially on this first album. They were a combination of like progressive rock. They had this glammy image, maybe a little bit of overtones of glam in some of the melodies that they used in their sound. And they also had a big kind of bombastic arena rock feel and vibe to their music and their sound. So this album was released in 1975. It was produced by Derek Lawrence and Big Jim Sullivan, and the production on it is good. It's nothing over the top. It's a little bit dry, but it works really well for what's going on here and what they were going for. The band consists of Frank Domino on vocals, Punky Meadows on guitar, Greg Giuffria, who would go on to have his own band, Giuffria, on keyboards, Mickey Jones on bass, and Barry Brandt on drums. The album starts with the song Tower, which is one of my favorites on this album. And the intro to the song is funny. As I was prepping for this episode, they have a video that they made back in the 70s for this song. And I was watching it in one room while my wife was in another. And the video starts with this sound that sounds like an old like a video game. It's like laser like sounds. And my wife came in and she's like, are you playing? She goes, what are you doing? Are you playing your video games? Because I like to play these retro Atari games. She thought I was playing a retro Atari game, but it was the intro to this song. And the song, it's a great song. It's got a real sort of epic feel to it. Again, this is in a little bit of a progressive overtone to it. Maybe like a little feels like sometimes like Kansas, but maybe not as overtly classically influenced as Kansas. But it's a real cool song with some charging riffs. I love Punky Meadows' guitar playing and his guitar sound, especially his lead guitar sound. He's not a super technical guitar player, but he has a real sort of melodic sense to him and a kind of a bluesy sense, nice bends and stuff like that. So this is a great song. It's a great intro. I love the lyrics. "Oh, I'm the tower." It's got a real sort of heavy metal vibe to it, and it's funny because Angel was sold in the press as this opposite version of Kiss, this brighter version of Kiss. But in a lot of ways, this album especially is heavier and darker than really anything that Kiss was doing at that point. Again, this album has a lot of these sort of epic, slightly minor key, dark feeling things, whereas Kiss was doing more of this kind of rock and roll-ish type of things at that time, like Anything for My Baby. And yeah, Kiss did have some darker stuff like 100,000 Years and Black Diamond and stuff like that. But it's just kind of funny that they're put out there as sort of this more angelic version of Kiss. Yet don't let that scare you away, because there's a lot of really heavy and kind of moody things on this album. Next is Long Time, which has this kind of mellow, spacious intro. Again, here it reminds me of sort of this Kansas feel. There's some plucked guitar parts in this. And there's a really cool part in the middle of this song where it goes into this, it drops down into like this heavy grooving riff part. Ba-da-da-da-da. Really awesome. Again, I love the guitar sounds on this, and really nice Punky Meadows guitar solo. It reminds me a lot of Mick Ronson, who played with David Bowie. It has a vibe to me like Moon Age Daydream from Ziggy Stardust, where the guitar is just sort of going crazy and going out there. And that's kind of where I hear sort of the glam influences sometimes in the guitar tones and the guitar melodies and some of the vocal melodies. At the end, it's got this sort of descending chord progression that reminds me a lot of 25 or 6 to 4 by Chicago. So then Rock and Rollers. It's a fun. This is one that does have sort of a glam rock kind of feel to it. It's kind of a straightforward rock song. It's got a pretty catchy chorus to it. Broken Dreams, it has a really cool minor key, again, kind of moody vibe to it. The riff reminds me, the main riff in the verse reminds me a lot of the UFO song On With the Action. It has that kind of da 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 da, like the riff is sort of chugging away and the vocal is soaring over the top. Frank Domino has a really cool kind of high-pitched range voice, maybe not quite as high as somebody like Robert Plant, but he's got this sort of soaring vocal quality to what he does. And all the playing from the band is great. Greg Giuffria, I really love his keyboards on this. It has a real 70s analog Moog synth vibe, so he's got a lot of sort of spacey effect-like noises to come in and out here and there, but then he also has a lot of really nice sort of padded keyboard things to fill out the sound, and then he has some really great keyboard solos in it too. I especially like Barry Brand's drumming on this. Again, I mentioned the mix earlier. It's kind of dry. It's not really reverbed out or anything, and I think this helps the drums because he's kind of a busy drummer and does a lot of like big fills that are really up there in the mix. And Mickey Jones on bass, some nice warm bass and some bass fills here and there. Mariner, that's a song that it's a mellow song. It's got piano in the beginning, in the vocals, kind of a storytelling thing that builds really nicely. It's kind of a mellow, moody, dramatic one for the record. It's placed really nicely on the album, I think. Sunday Morning is it's funny, the melody in this song, and I can't place where I've heard it, but it sounds a lot like something from Greta Van Fleet. I should say that Greta Van Fleet sounds like this song because obviously Angel was way before Greta Van Fleet. But even the vocal delivery, you hear Greta Van Fleet always say Led Zeppelin, that was her influence. But I really, really wonder if they were also listening to Angel because, man, the vocals, the delivery and the melody line, and I couldn't figure out what the Greta Van Fleet song was, as I don't really know all their music, but it really sounds like one of their songs that I've heard on the radio. So just interesting. On and On is a great driving rocker, really catchy chorus, and then the album ends with a song called Angel Theme, which is really like a kind of a keyboard melody showcase, like drums and keyboards, and this really reminds me a lot of the Mr. Crowley keyboard intro, like not only tonally like the synth that he's using in the synth sound, but even the melody line, and it really makes me wonder if that's where that was their influence for that keyboard intro to Mr. Crowley, if it was this Angel theme. So this is a really cool album that again combines, I'm a fan of glam rock. I haven't done a whole lot of it on my channel, but I love 70s glam stuff. So I get a little bit of that here with the melodies and the guitar tones and the way he solos, big bends and stuff, kind of like Ace Frehley a little bit at times too. But it also has a little bit of a progressive vibe to it with the tempo changes, and kind of some of these songs got a lot of riffs in them moving around, acoustic guitars here and there, and changes, big bombastic sections dropping down to acoustic things. It's also got a big feel to it, an arena rock vibe with lots of drum fills and stuff like that. And yet there's enough of the songs on here that have kind of a bit of a moodier minor key feel to them, which is like right up my alley. So this is an album that, man, I really, really dig this record. Angel would kind of tone down the progressive elements a little bit as they went on. But this is an album that I really loved, and I really enjoyed listening to it getting ready for this episode. So, all right, there you go. Angel, their self-titled album. Let me know in the description down below what you guys think of this album. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Make sure you go to Lair the Alchemist on Facebook. Also check out the Lair the Alchemist Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Lair the Alchemist. I'm going to be doing some live streams where I jam along on my bass to some metal songs that I've written, and you can chat with me and everything on there. More on that coming soon. All right, so check all that stuff out. Links down in the description. Until we see you again, make sure you rock hard, ride free.